Well, the DNR announced that they found it to be adequate, the environmental impact statement to be adequate. And we're not surprised by that decision, but we're disappointed because there are still a whole host of unresolved issues that Minnesotans have been bringing up over and over again. As the governor said a moment ago, 50,000 plus Minnesotans have commented, and it's not just people sending in form letters. These are folks that have done serious scientific analyses of this project and found that it's really problematic in lots of ways. One is we don't know which direction polluted groundwater would go. There's a real risk that it will flow into the Boundary Waters wilderness, and we've never even figured that out yet. The idea that we're 10 years into this environmental review and we still don't know which direction polluted water would flow off that site is ridiculous. Secondly, we've never come up with a plan for how to remediate and mitigate the loss of 8,000 acres of pristine wetlands at the site.
So you're saying that the DNR conclusion is
premature. I mean, they have decided...
Inadequate, premature?
Well, they've decided to, instead of dealing with these issues during environmental review that have been brought up repeatedly by scientists and citizens, they're going to wait until permitting. The problem for the citizens of Minnesota is that permitting process is much less transparent. There aren't public hearings that are required. They've said they will do a public hearing, and that's great. But most of the meat of this will be done in backdoor conversations between the company and the DNR. And that's not acceptable. These are decisions that could affect Minnesotans for 500 years. And the idea that we're waiting until now, when the process starts to head into the back room, to have the most serious conversations about how much money and what kind of mitigation would be required, it's not what Minnesotans expect. They deserve better.
What do you think of the governor's statement this afternoon?
I think the governor is taking his responsibility seriously, and I support that. But I think it's important that the governor take more of an ownership role in this, because the citizens of Minnesota elected him to represent them, and not to defer those decisions that could affect Minnesotans for generations to agency staff. I know that he needs them to do their work, to provide him the right information, but ultimately the buck stops with him. And so, I'm happy to hear that he is taking that responsibility seriously, but we hope that he will take a very active role in asking for and getting the answers that he needs to make sure that Minnesotans are protected.
What do you think is going to happen?
I won't predict. I mean, it's as the governor noted, I think this is the most extensive process we've ever done. This issue there's never been an environmental issue that's been this controversial or generated as much public, engagement. And so the coin's in the air, and it's up to citizens to get involved to make sure that they influence this process if they want to.
Citizens' influence still has a chance.
It does. I mean, as they said, there's going to be a public hearing. There will be a comment period for the permit to mine. And I think, and I'd encourage folks to call the governor and tell him what they think, because the governor has said over and over again, it's his decision. Call him, 800-657-3717. That's his number. Call him and leave a message.